Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your March 2019 1st through the 15th reading. So we're looking at the first half of March here, the 1st through the 15th. Welcome to everyone here. Welcome to any newcomers and to any returning people, subscribers, those of you who follow my YouTube channel regularly. Thank you so much. And for all the people who take the time to send in their support and feedback and comments, thank you to you as well. And always a big thank you to all of my clients out there, regular and new, for keeping me so busy with personal readings. As most of you know, if you are interested in a personal reading with me and you've never read with me before or don't have the information anymore, you can get more info and contact details by clicking on the description link below or the description link attached to any of the videos I post. Or you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the little About button there. For more info and contact details. I can usually respond to your initial request with more info within the same day or the first 24 hours. And scheduling is pretty good too. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is the sum total of what I do. So I work pretty diligently with both my schedule and other people's schedules to get you a reading as quickly as possible. I do a wide variety of readings of all different types and lengths and costs in all the main areas of life. So if you're interested, you can send me an email. We'll go from there. It is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. All right, let's move right into this. This reading is for the air sign of Aquarius for March 1st through the 15th, 2019, the first half of March. We'll explore the last half during the mid-month readings in a couple of weeks, but for now this is for March 1st through the 15th for Aquarius. These are general readings, so they're always going to resonate a little differently for everybody watching. If they don't resonate with you, it's not your message. Check your rising and moon sign videos as well. That can sometimes resonate a little bit better for you or provide additional clarification too. All right, Aquarius, let's see what's in store for you for the first half of March 2019. Okay, Aquarius, we begin with the Two of Wands, followed by the Queen of Swords. We have the Six of Swords, followed by the World. And from the bottom of the deck, representing overall focus and energy for the first half of March, is the Hierophant. So Aquarius, it looks like a lot of you are, in a very serious and practical and clear-sighted way, are taking a look at your long-term vision and goals, or the advice is to take a look at your long-term vision and goals, because for some of you it looks like you're at a crossroads where you're trying to make a decision about something, because that's where we begin with the Two of Wands and the Queen of Swords. So the Two of Wands is about being at a crossroads and needing to make a decision. Do I go left? Do I go right? Let me take a look at your elemental energy here. We have 2 swords, 1 wands, and 2 major arcana cards. So a lot of mental energy, which is what swords represent. Wands is fire, so it's about looking more towards the future and building and creating. So the Two of Wands usually shows up when there's a decision or a choice, or you're thinking about taking something in a new direction or in a different direction. And this man is kind of paused at the crossroads, and he's trying to make a choice. Do I take this path or do I take that path? Do I make this decision or do I make that decision? And this could really be in any area of your life. It could be, I mean, there's a little bit more swords energy than anything else. So, I mean, for some of you, it might be in the educational realm, trying to make a decision, you know, between doing one course of study or another course of study, one career path versus another, one job versus another, or what to do in your relationship energy. It can represent being very early on in something, because we're only at the 2 here. It could be in the early stages of a relationship, an educational path, a job path of some kind. Or it can represent trying to make a decision in whether you want to take a different path or continue down a path, but perhaps in a different direction. The key to choosing the right path with the Two of Wands is in long-term vision and planning. It's about making the decision based on not necessarily what you feel or want so much right now, because the Queen of Swords implies thinking about it in a way that's really not as emotionally driven. because she makes decisions based more on mental, practical facts and thoughts rather than emotion. She's not unemotionless, but the court cards of the suit of swords, which is air and mental energy, it's about making a decision based on what you feel is actually the most practical thing, or based on what truth and illumination you get. So it's about looking long-term vision-wise, meaning if this is relationship, for example, if you're currently in a relationship, do you want to maybe make the decision to take it to a deeper level of commitment and responsibility? What's your long-term vision? What's your long-term dream in terms of relationship? And then get that set in your mind, and then make the decision or make dating decisions that propel you closer towards that goal or to that goal. If it's job, work, or career, if you currently have a job, is this job taking you in the direction of the goal, the place that you want to be in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? If it's not, can you make changes to take it there? If not, then maybe it's time to explore something different. This works in like any aspect of your life, because it looks like, I mean, your overall energy is the Hierophant, which is convention, tradition, walking a path that has specific laid out steps that many people have walked in front of you. You know, organized religions, institutions, family systems, where you come from. It can also represent taking something to a deeper level of commitment and responsibility and obligation as well. So making a more long-term commitment. Do I go left or do I go right? Do I take this further? Do I take another path? It depends on, one, what your long-term vision and goal is. I can't really see that this is particularly love and romance oriented, or particularly job or career oriented. I think it's probably pretty evenly split. Again, for some of you, I am getting some of you maybe exploring an educational path or a path of taking more training, because it's about trying to make a decision on how to get to where you want to be down the road. So it's about making decisions that fit that. And what clarifies it is the Queen of Swords. So kings and queens represent individuals who have mastered their suit, which basically represents that they've reached a point of self-mastery and self-control over the character traits which are inherent to their suit. This is the Queen of Swords. Swords is air energy, so it's about our perceptions and perspectives and belief systems and ideologies, because that affects the way that we see the world, create our reality, and communicate with that, including other people. So the Queen of Swords has a long road behind her. Some of it's been pretty challenging and painful. So she's at a point right now, the Queen of Swords is, she has pretty clear insight. She doesn't tolerate BS, and she can see right through it. She has less patience in some areas and more patience in others because of some of her challenging experiences on her life path so far. But this is about making decisions with truth and clarity and insight, which is not against emotion, and it doesn't mean that emotions aren't involved in looking at this and making a decision. But the Queen of Swords looks at things, you know, in a more practical, insightful sort of way. She is not prone to making decisions based completely on emotions, or that are spontaneous, impulsive, or emotionally driven. So it's about being very practical, about looking long term, whatever area of your life this is resonating in, Aquarius. Looking at what your long-term goal is in whatever area of your life this resonates in, and asking yourself, is taking this further on this same path? If I go left and take this further, is it going to take me, or does it have a good chance of taking me to my long-term vision and goal? Or if not, maybe I need to explore the other path. And this is your energy, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra energy, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So it's manifesting inherently what you're already good at. Now, around the second week or middle of the month or so, although this is really energy for the first 2 weeks of March, we have the Six of Swords and the World. So the Six of Swords is a card of peace and healing. It's about moving away from whatever the source of the conflict or the issue is, because if you could see the water behind this boat, it would be choppy and wavy and turbulent, but she's moving into a place that's much more peaceful and placid and serene. It's transitional, meaning that she's still in the water moving towards a better place. She's left the worst behind her. She's not quite to the other shore and on solid ground, but definitely a card about moving towards it. Sometimes this card can have a little bit of a quieter, sometimes poignant energy, because it is a card primarily of, something keeps popping up on my screen. I hope you can't hear that little ding. If you can, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, something just keeps popping up. Okay. Sometimes this card has, I mean, it's a card primarily of healing, but sometimes, I mean, healing has its up and down days too. And because it's accompanied by the world, which represents complete closure or final closure, coming full circle, it represents that whatever you're moving towards means that you're leaving something behind, even if what you're moving towards is something that you really want. For example, and hence that sometimes there's a little bit of sadness in this card too, especially if it represents healing in the initial phase, because you are leaving something behind. That's what moving towards something represents. In order to move towards something, you're leaving something behind, someone, something, a situation. For example, if this is relationship and what you're considering is taking the relationship to a new level of commitment where it currently hasn't had one, you may be leaving behind, you know, some things that you have enjoyed, maybe a sense of independence and not having to worry about or think about somebody else in your life, what you do affecting somebody else in your life. And there may be a bit of poignancy or nostalgia in that. It could be, if this was a relationship reading too, and you're in a relationship which isn't moving you towards, you know, this conventional long-term commitment that you want, you're taking a look, you're examining, is this what I want? Am I able to get this within this relationship? If it's absolutely not possible, then it may represent moving away from that relationship or that person, which will hurt for a time as you go through the healing process, but ultimately it puts you on a path towards having what you want. And the same applies if this is a job work situation or an educational path even, or a spiritual path as well. Because it does look like something needs to be closed out something needs to be put to rest in order to really move towards what you really and truly want, regardless of what that is. For some of you, you know, it might mean taking a road towards a deeper level of commitment and establishment and responsibility in an area of your life that requires you to leave something or someone behind. And it might hurt, but it's necessary in order for you to ultimately have what you want. For some of you, it might be a person. For some of you, it might be a job or work situation. For some of you, it might be a group of people, a sense of a place where you previously had your identity. It could even be a specific religious or spiritual path as well. There's something which looks like closure needs to be put on it so that you can move forward, bring this to a close so that you can move forward and put yourself on a path towards ultimately attaining true joy and fulfillment for you. So let's pull a final advice and guidance card for the first half of March for Aquarius. And again, for some of you, it might not mean like, you know, leaving a job specifically or leaving a person specifically, but in order for you to move forward to what you want, you're going to have to leave something behind that you might miss for a time. But you're doing it because you're manifesting the Queen of Swords, which is actually being true to yourself, to who you are. When you show up in your own reading and trying to make a decision, it's about being true to who you are, true to what your true hopes, goals, and wishes are. Advice is the Nine of Wands, pushing through. We're almost at a 10 here. 10s represent cycles completing, and the world represents reaching the top of that particularly significant and difficult mountain, a big chapter in your life coming to a close. The Nine of Wands is kind of a smaller echo of that too. 10s represent cycles ending and completion. We're at the 9 here. It's just about this one last hurdle, this one last obstacle, this one last bit of the journey you need to push through. This man can't see that he's so close to completing. It feels like it's endless, like it's gone on this way for forever. It's going to go on this way for forever. Should I just give up? You know, all the things we tell ourselves when we're tired and discouraged because we can't see that it's just around the corner, because it is around the corner. So it's a card about pushing through. That's what this card represents. It's the 9th card. It's the 11th hour. It's the 9-number card. It's the 11th hour card, as I call it, the card that represents, you know, the dark night of the soul, or yeah, it's darkest before dawn. And there's nothing as bright as the first light that comes after darkness. So it's just about pushing through. You're so very close. But it's about putting something to rest so that you can move towards a place of joy and fulfillment and stability. So Aquarius, that pretty much wraps up your reading for the first half of March 2019, the 1st to the 15th. I hope you found it helpful. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal one-on-one reading with me, please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I do love and romance, of course, compatibility readings, reconciliation potential, career, work, and finance, investment readings. I offer gift readings, and I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in all the main areas of life over a 6 or 12-month period, depending on how far ahead you want to look. So a few things to choose from. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. And that's good for fast answers to quick, easy questions. And all of that info you can find by clicking on the description bar below, or going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on the little About button there. So I will see you all again, Aquarius, in a couple of weeks for the March 2019 mid-month readings, where we'll take a look at the second half of March. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.